What's going on, guys? This is the DeFi Crypto Alliance show where we do our best to be the bridge between our fellow real estate investors, entrepreneurs alike, and the cryptocurrency world because crypto is the juiciest, biggest opportunity over the next little while, and nothing is even close. So, welcome along on the journey, guys. We're pumped to have you. Corey, take it away.
Good morning, PulseChain. Happy ETH ETF day. Happy leverage on ETH ETF day. When are we going to get the PulseChain ETF? That's what I want to know. When's that going to happen? Dane, it's funny. We were talking about yesterday how the top could be when you're seeing, other indicators or other big market type events. We're talking about the privacy coming to PulseChain. What if the top for the altcoin season is the Solana ETF? And I was thinking about that because people were already talking about this narrative. And it's, who knows if something like that could come to fruition or not. But I would see that being a actual top indicator when they're starting to hand down the ETFs to like a Solana, a Cardano, maybe a PulseChain. I know that would be probably a very euphoric moment for me. It would be fun regardless. And it's just cool to think about it. Yeah, man. This is open mic day, guys. We want to get you guys on. Dane, can you drop the link? I dropped it in on mine. For some reason, it says that it's having a problem.
I've got it here.
Yeah, guys, come on and rap with us. This is an exciting day. The Ethereum ETF getting approved yesterday. That's good for crypto as a whole. And I was watching Crypto 7 show today. Shout out to him. And he was talking about how we're a leverage play on Ethereum, and he anticipates being a leverage play. And this is interesting. Oh, Norbert, mute yourself. There we go. He says a leverage play on Ethereum is that we should do squared to whatever ETH does. So if ETH does a 5x, then we should do a 25x, right? Squared is just you times it by itself. If ETH does a 3x, then we do a 9x. And so it's interesting to think about because Ethereum, I can see Ethereum doing a 10x now, and that would put it in the realms of $20,000 to $30,000. And so, if ETH did a 10x, man, if Crypto 7's idea or ideology was accurate, squared, that would be 100x on the PulseChain ecosystem. Now, I put the PulseChain ecosystem as in one. As far as market cap is concerned and everything, I feel like the total ecosystem is a $2 billion market cap. We have Pulse, PulseX, Hex, and Inc. I feel like right now, at least of now, they're rolled into as of one product. So it'd be interesting to know, okay, so 100x off of that ecosystem. Well, what is that? 2 billion, that'll put us at a 200 billion market cap. So, interesting to think about when you square it like that and you think that through. He says that's usually how most leverage plays play on top. If that's the case, what is Solid X going to do? So if PulseChain does a 10x, does that mean my Solid X does a 100x? Because that's a direct leverage play on PulseChain. I don't care what anyone says. It's a direct leverage play. And so it's an interesting thought process to think through. Guys, come on our stream. We already got people coming on. This is awesome. This is going to be a fun show today.
Yeah.
Hello, guys.
What's up, Norbert?
What's going on?
Driving as usual. 5 minutes ago, I was not driving, so I was like, yeah, let's go to the car. And
Got to get in the car, man. It's bitching.
How are you feeling? Is everything okay?
Yeah, things are going great. Excited with the ETF. I think the more that this stuff plays out, the more that, I feel like I didn't feel this way a year ago, but there's been plenty of people that have been saying this is potentially the last big crypto bull run where you could get the outsized crypto gains compared to what we've got in the future where the gains will be far more muted, kind of like the stock market. And I'm feeling more and more that way with the ETFs. I mean, you're going to have Wall Street come in how much, where can you get more money to get these really big upside pushes after you bring in the Wall Street guys? Where do you get that from? I don't know. I think we're likely to see less volatility in the big stuff like ETH and Bitcoin and things of that nature. So that'll be an interesting thing to see what happens in the next bull run hereafter.
Yep.
Volatility might not disappear. Even the stock market, like I said last time, I'm trying to become a funded trader, and yesterday, for example, just because of one economic data, we dropped like the US 30 dropped like 700 points. It's the size I'm trading. If 50 points move, 40 points move for me is about $200. So it's times 15. It's like quite a decent chunk of cash in one day for a small player. So maybe this ETF is gonna be good for us in the future, and it stays. The volatility is gonna stay alive, because if we become a part of, let's say, the stock market, then you're gonna have option to trade the price of the actual asset, so ETH and Bitcoin, in the future. So then it's not just the actual investment can make you money, but also the CFD, the price difference of the.
Yeah. No, I think you make a great point. Yeah, I don't think the volatility is going away completely. Not everything.
It's just gonna be, yeah. You made a good point. It's gonna be more modest, because you're not gonna see this 1000x of a cat in a skirt or whatever. But yeah.
Cat in a skirt. Oh, bro, like. Dang,
why not? If you can do dog with a hat, cat with a skirt, it even sounds good. Like, why not?
This is good.
Yeah. Brizology says, yeah, this opens the doors for all the world's money to start flowing in. Everyone from the middle class of America to corporate America and anyone else in the world who can turn their fiat into crypto. Exactly. This is theoretically the bull run of all bull runs, which is exciting to be here now,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, finally the gate is kind of open. We released those shackles which kind of holding us down, and manipulation because of the smaller market cap. So yeah, it's just all good for us. And if everyone says it, I know I'm gonna sound boring or not really knowledgeable right now, but probably some of our viewers, if they haven't heard, if the ETF, if the ETFs got accepted, that means that because PulseChain is a copy of Ethereum, all the functions, every updates has been installed. So how can we be a security? Like it's a one case already.
Well, they can argue that the offering was
the sacrifice.
Security.
Yeah.
But then they can point and say, like I'm seeing the bill that went and got approved by Congress about decentralization. I'm seeing one of the factors that are going to be determined is if an entity holds more than 20%, then is it really decentralized? So we might have that case, but then at the same time, on the flip side, how do you prove such entity is or such keys belongs to anybody is another, difficult part, So there's a lot of there's just a lot of question marks in all that still. And I think you do have a good point, Norbert. I think it's good that, that ETH, we're a copy of ETH and they did a pre-raise and we're a fork of them. Like, it's going to give Richard's attorneys definitely more ammo. I'm very bullish on the case itself, but I definitely want to look at both sides. So,
yeah, of course. We don't want to fall on our faces.
Yeah, Frank, what's up, brother? We got Frank.
Oh, yeah, Frank.
Burger
Man.
What's up, guys? Thanks for hosting today. It's exciting. You take one little bit of good news at a time, given where we come from in the last 30 to 60 days, and, try not to get too excited, but also, let it happen quicker than we thought, the ETF. So, and everybody, I think, wants everything else to move real quickly, right? It's not 100. It's not super moving, but you know, there's.
And I have Frank. I have a quick. I'll play it for you guys if you want. I have a quick kind of explanation why we're not like just shooting up overnight. I don't know if you guys follow Colin Talks Crypto. He's a really good account to follow for like. I mean, he's also a Bitcoin guy. He's an ETH guy, but he likes PulseChain and Hex, which is really cool. So he's like one of the OGs from the day that actually appreciates virtual hard assets. So I like the guy because of that, right? And so I follow him. But here, listen to this. Here, let me just show it to you really quick. It's like a minute long or 2 minutes long, and it explains why. It explains why we're not shooting up just like overnight.
While you're looking for that, Corey, the interesting thing is Ethereum shot up. What was it? 5 days ago on the rumor. And then it didn't do anything on the news,
Right. Exactly. And let me know if you guys can hear this.
Hooray, the Ethereum ETF
Can you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
has been approved. Now, what does this mean?
A little bit higher.
Just to give you a little more detail on how it works exactly, there's a couple different stages of approval. The one that is basically the guarantee it's going to happen at some point in the future. It was called a 19B-4 form or application, and that's what got approved today by the SEC. But you need an S1 approval before it goes live, and usually the thing goes live a couple days after the S1 filing is approved by the SEC. Now, there's no telling exactly how long, at least that I've seen yet, between the 19B-4 approval and the S1 approval. I'm kind of guessing, and I could be wrong on this, that it could be a couple months, like several months before they actually approve the S1. So we'll see, because I think if there is a period of time like that between the two, we may be seeing a local top for Ethereum price. And obviously, once the ETF launches after the S1 later this year or whenever, then money finally can use the on-ramps into the Ethereum ETFs. But until that S1 gets approved, there's no live exchange trading the Ethereum ETFs anywhere. It's just basically in the like pending stages. Like it's gonna happen, 99.9%. It's gonna happen, but it's not live today just because it got approved. Oh.
So interesting. He's saying, it could take as long as till the end of the year before the S1 is approved and we actually go live on trading for the ETH ETF. So, can you guys hear me?
Yeah. It's interesting to consider. Yeah, I'm with you. I thought that was a great clip. And they also need to get, how long does it take before they actually have the product offerings available to sell so the inflows of money can come? So I imagine that's part of that process as well. That sound clip was excellent, where they're prepping for all that. And it's funny, somebody shared in our group the clip of Michael Saylor, I think it was earlier this year, saying that Bitcoin is the only thing that will ever get an ETF. It's the only institutional grade cryptocurrency out there. and now you have the ETH approval, which is beautiful. It's bag bias at its finest.
Oh, I also have a video. Do you want to see it real quick? I have a video of Gary Gensler getting convinced to approve it. Here, check this out. I'll show you this video. This is actual. We caught live footage of this, and I want to make sure you guys see this. This is good. This is the breaking video here.
I don't know what I'm doing or saying. My wife dressed me this morning and wiped my ass after I took a pooey poo, and I'm so disoriented that I might just have to resort to scream.
Oh, come on. My internet's not the greatest.
Yelling to create illusion that I comprehend what the heck I'm doing.
Good shit, Gary. You are a loser. You always lose. And the American people are tired of it. Frankly, I'm tired of it. Crypto is getting ready to deploy spot ETFs. And you're still sitting there sucking your thumb, wondering if Satoshi is a mermaid or a tulip.
I like it. That was great. That was great. What's up, Sprackburger? Let's go to you next. We appreciate you jumping in here. How are the charts looking, brother? What are you thinking and feeling?
Feel good. Feel good. When you say how are the charts, they're all over the place. Yeah, it depends which chart. Some charts are better than others.
Right.
NVIDIA chart. The NVIDIA charts, it's just nothing but a God candle.
I'll tell you which chart looks really good. You guys are talking about Ethereum getting ETF'd, and the chart that looks amazing to me is the grayscale Ethereum. So the ETHE trade that I took last year is doing pretty good. I got a 55% discount to NAV on that trade. So the amount of Ethereum that was in the trust was discounted by 55% when I bought it. And now that the ETF is approved, the gap has closed to under 5%. And then once the ETF goes live, it'll go to zero. And as a matter of fact, if it does like the same thing Bitcoin did, it'll go at a premium. So they'll be paying me to get out. And then I could roll it into something else. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm mostly crypto, but this is money I had in a traditional IRA. So it was kind of a no-brainer trade screaming at me. And yeah.
So Sprack, when you hit the top on that, then do you take it out of your IRA? Because I'm in the same boat. It's like, do you take it out and wait for it to dump?
So that's a really good question. At that point, you could roll it into the IBIT ETF or, Fidelity, whatever. Like if you want to stay as an Ethereum product, you just get out of Grayscale because you don't want to pay that 2% whatever fee.
Management fee.
Yeah.
Whatever, yeah, you're paying them 2% so they could have water coolers and, slap each other on the ass. You basically roll that into something like an IBIT or a Fidelity. Both of those have near zero trading or management fees. There's nothing to manage. But and then you could say, well, you know what? Maybe this was a good trade, and maybe I want to diversify it into the Bitcoin ETF or into pick your stocks, whatever you want. Or you could try to scale out as the bull market continues and go to cash or buy bonds, right? I heard bonds are pretty good.
That's right.
I mean, if it's in your IRA, there's no sense in keeping it if you think you have a sense of where the top, I'm just thinking out loud.
So that's subject to opinion, and everybody's going to be different. For me, in that account, in that personal account, I'll probably never sell it.
Okay.
Because I don't think, like you said, if you guys have some bullish targets on Ethereum this cycle, 10K I think is very reasonable. 14K is on the table. 20K is going to be very tough, but hey, anything could happen in crypto. If we do peak out at the 20K or something above the 50, I have a target about 12 to 14K as my top, but let's just say we get above that. That would be amazing. What's the pullback going to be? And are we going to come back to these numbers? There's a possibility we never come back to the $3,000 region. So if you bought Ethereum at back in the day at $100 or at $200, and it's we'll never get to those numbers. Each cycle will keep creating a new floor. Maybe I'll sell some of it, maybe I'll, but in this particular account, in this particular IRA account, which is tax deferred, I may never sell it until obviously till I retire. I could do whatever I want, but that could be cycles from now.
I think Brizology has an interesting point here. He says, I can see whoever is in charge of picking stocks for 401ks, they'll be told to put Bitcoin and Ethereum in people's 401ks. Those people will be long-time holders. Yeah, who will be, he says, won't be allowed to sell, or even, you could even say less likely to sell because it's just a long-term hold. And then kind of like we said earlier, you could see volatility dampen. You'd also see where you don't have these just severe bear markets where everyone gets freaking destroyed. And so, we've talked about this a lot. I think the time to be in the market is this bull run. If you're not here, what are you doing?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if we lose the volatility in Bitcoin and Ethereum, does that trickle down to like the altcoins and the other layer ones? Is the volatility there get dampened? Does there? Yeah, it's an interesting thought process because it all moves together. At least it has up to this point. And yeah,
And you still have like penny stocks and things like that, right? With high volatility in the stock market. So I imagine you'll have a subset, memes and things like
coins.
that. So plenty of volatility. Yeah. It'll just be a matter of how you want to play your hand.
That's a good
Plus,
question.
one thing about the price. One thing about the price of Ethereum, I hear all sorts of numbers. Some people say 20K, 15K. If that's gonna be the case, that you need to pay that kind of money for one ETH, and then what's gonna do to the transactions? Obviously, it creates an environment when only the top wealthy, the richest of the richest, can afford to pay for those transaction fees. My question is that gonna be the demand, is there gonna be the hype of, oh yeah, I need to do things on Ethereum, I have to do it there? Or are we just gonna be like, if it happens, if it's not, then maybe there's gonna be other participants in that, because right now whoever is using ETH and they can afford it, if we double or triple that price, they're gonna think twice, like, do I really want to spend that much on just on transaction? Even not on the lowest guys, but let's 1 or 2 steps above the least wealthy, let's say. So yeah, and if that happens, then it might make the Ethereum either like kind of like a ghost chain, or just, like I said, only the ultra wealthy is gonna use it. But if that's the case, then it's gonna be like a fairly empty shopping mall. So
Honestly, no, I think they fix it.
I
think you fix it through L2s or you have sharding. I think that gets fixed.
Yeah, it's getting upgraded.
With the ETF getting approval, you just grew up, in my opinion, just got the blessing from the U.S. government. I think all that gets resolved. What do you think, Briz?
I was just gonna say, it kind of sounded like, where's the hype gonna come from? Like, how are we gonna onboard, new people or something? And basically, I think it's just gonna be like the stock market, where the whole world isn't investing in the stock market. I mean, probably 10% of Americans even like actively invest in the stock market, but hey, that's doing just fine. So I think for the money to come into these chains and stuff and have it trickle down, it's just going to be for the people who are most turned on and switched on to it. It's the people who are, it's just not for certain people, and that's okay.
When Inc. ETF, Briz, Inc. ETF.
Oh, please. I became a turtle the other day, so yeah.
Nice. Nice. What's up, Gingerbread Man? We haven't come to you yet. How you feeling?
Man, I'm just glad the ETF was approved. I just didn't expect it till later this year or potentially yet next year or ever. Reports floating around. Of course, it's a suspect 15 to 45 billion potentially over the next 12 months. So I'm ready to go, man. I'm excited.
I didn't think it was going to happen until next year, to tell you the truth.
Same.
I thought it'd be the top signal.
Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm. So here's a question for you guys. Do you think that, in fact, I'll come back to you, Spreck. What do you guys think? We'll start with Spreck in relationship to where this is getting approval, and we still need the, I think it's called the S1 form or the S10 form. We need that so that you can actually have the money inflows. Does this lead to a faster cycle top? I mean, that's still theoretically on the table. There's people saying we top out come, October, November. Do we push into next year sometime? What do you think? Let's start with you, Sprack, and feel free to go ahead and say anything else that you were going to say.
Real quick before you start, Sprack, I see someone waiting in the waiting room. You need to turn your camera on real quick and then turn off before you come on. That way we make sure that, you're not like actually going to show up naked or something. So if you could do, all right. Oh God. Never mind.
You can see a D with a butt, like why not?
Dang, how did I get so fooled, bro? Like, how did I get so fooled? Like, I mean, I should have figured it was gonna be bribes.
Nice.
That's right.
Yeah, well, thanks for taking the chance anyway. You never know.
Yeah, that's great. Let's come back to Fast Abdul. We'll start with Sprack and then move on through.
Original question about ETF, like the S1 filing and the timing and all that.
Yeah, how does that work, man?
So it all depends, right? Because if Gary had it his way, he wouldn't have filed it. He wouldn't have approved it. So what's happening is there's political pressure, and the political pressure could be accelerating some of this activity and some of the approvals. And you never know what's going to happen getting towards the election, where some things may start getting pushed through to make the current administration look good, or to sort of like, prop up the corpse, so to speak. Weekend at Bernie's, right? So I'm more leaning on the camp that it gets released this year, but later in the year, like towards the end of the year. I don't think it happens in the summer. I think fall at the earliest, and into Q4 of this year. And whether or not it's a top signal, it's going to be dependent on the overall macroeconomic environment. You're gonna need to see the stock market still holding strong, and you're gonna need to see the Fed start to pivot and then get those interest rates come down. And once the interest rates come down, then the big money, the guys that are holding 40 trillion or 50 trillion, they're going to start moving their money a little bit out of the bond market and into the stock market. And then that's when I think this business cycle is a little different from the previous business cycles, is in that we have so much cash on the sideline, and it will absolutely skyrocket the stock market. Well, the 7 stocks that are holding up the corpse, but those 7 stocks are going to absolutely moon. And we could have something similar to what happened in the late 1920s, which again, the hangover from that party could be substantial. I'm not saying we're going into a Great Depression, but it could create a pretty big hangover if we do get a collapse, and then the Fed will probably print money again to stop the collapse. And what's that going to do to your commodity prices and your Bitcoin and your Ethereum and your things of that nature? So staying in the asset classes is probably the best thing you could do.
Ray Dalio thinks that we're in the middle of another 1990s of what the internet was. This is the AI boom of the 1990s internet. Like this, we're going through that same phase, and that the AI is going to take us. We're not in a bubble, and it's going to take us up into the bubble over the next couple of years. So it's interesting.
The Roaring 20s
Could be.
And then you're talking about like a big world war at the end of the decade.
Could be.
Seems like things are repeating.
Yeah, this time
is
is
on the table.
different. It's never different.
Let's go to what do you think, Frank?
Can I call a friend?
We're all right here, bro. Like, who are you gonna call? We're all on stream.
You know, friends. Just ask a question.
I mean, except for Fast Abdul, we know that. But I mean, the rest of us are friends.
Yeah, Fast Abdul can give us a quick answer.
I really don't have an answer. I find that if I get too far ahead of myself in crypto, that it's all in my head. So I try to stay in the present, the day,
the peanut brain,
in the moment, and that way I'm not consumed by worry or fear or anything like that. And anyway,
I like that.
I don't have a lot to say about it, but I'm listening though. If I have something, I'll chime in.
I like that. I appreciate you jumping in. Oh yeah, go ahead, Briss.
I would just say this. I got two minds about the whole Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF, and the two minds is I got the bullish and the bearish scenarios. Excuse me. And the bullish is that these ETFs just allow the money to get turned on into crypto, because it's just like it's just going to allow money to just start flowing in from every direction instead of just like the CEXs, instead of just Coinbase. And that could just push the prices up of everything, because these are scarce assets. I mean, what happens when 20 million Americans, that's not everyone, what if they all want one whole Bitcoin? What if 20 million Americans all want to get one whole Bitcoin? Well, guess what? That doesn't leave enough for all the corporations to get
or
in.
even one Ethereum.
Exactly. Or one
still,
Ethereum. Only 120 million Ethereum.
Yeah.
And so that's the bullish scenario. And that's the scenario that I pray for. I'm like, I just want everything to go up because that. But the bearish scenario is that the government and Wall Street have allowed this because, well, they know that maybe what they'll try to do is to make it like gold and silver, where they just dilute it by selling fake paper stocks, instead of having people buy the actual Bitcoin.
And
they'll
trying
just
to keep
sell
the price down.
30,000 Bitcoin derivatives and keep the price of all of Bitcoin and Ethereum suppressed. And that's the bearish scenario. But in my opinion, like, the government and everyone isn't stupid. Everyone on screen right now, we all know fiat doesn't last. Like, it can't last. It's like, do you guys want a $20,000 hamburger in the future? Is that that's where we're heading?
Look at Venezuela. That's what Venezuela is.
We're unless you want a $20,000 hamburger, and then people are going to start revolting. The government knows that the money system can't last, and so I think they probably created cryptocurrencies and is allowing it to actually flourish because it just acts as a fiat sponge. And truthfully, crypto could be the thing that actually saves fiat. It could actually make it I think stable.
Oh, that's a good point.
Right?
It help to make the music keep going, because at the end of the day, they're not gonna let the stock market die. For them, it's like bread and butter. It has to carry on going. Otherwise, that the
biggest
whole system
in history.
Because it's either the houses and the stocks and everything else keeps going up, or maybe crypto. They could just make crypto. Because the thing is, the last thing I'll say is, like, the reason why they suppress the precious metals is because they need the precious metals for industrial use. And you don't want your medicine and phones to be $10,000 an ounce of silver, and it uses this much silver in each one. So instead of having that go way up, you know what? let's let crypto go up because there's no negative side effects of letting crypto run versus
On the
letting like
economy.
silver or precious metals run.
Until it becomes absolutely necessary to have it as a commodity. So like things like Ethereum, it's not made of anything, right? It's made out of digital ones and zeros and processing power. So when you think about what a commodity is, in the past, it was like you said, it's how many buildings can I make? How much steel am I going to need? And that drives all the steel prices. And then things like manufacturing, like your computer, your laptop, the things that lithium, batteries, all of that stuff. Well, in the future, and I think in a non-foreseeable future, blockchains are going to become assets, the building blocks for new businesses, including a lot of what you're going to see as real world asset wrapped and trading. So it will become like similar in that sense, where it is a commodity. It's going to be an absolute necessity for businesses to thrive. So it's like you're seeing this repeat itself from the industrial era, where commodities that we thought were useless back then are now becoming extremely valuable. So yeah, I think that's why they want it, not necessarily because it's a psyop or anything like that, but that it's going to be absolutely crucial for business. And I think BlackRock sees it. I think they're the smart ones, and they know that they if they get a early position in that, they can continue to dominate the asset class world.
Oh yeah.
I just had a real quick thought. It just popped in my head. This is why they're letting crypto happen. It's because AI is going to come for all of your jobs, and they can't pay AI in dollar bills, so they're going to be paying in crypto. Boom.
Boom.
Drop the mic.
I like that. And that's true. And one of the thoughts I had with, like, I was talking to my wife about like she talks to her Alexa, whatever, and Alexa, like, she keeps you on track. She's like, oh, it's time for, your walk today, or it's time for medicine, or it's time for this, or whatever. And she's sort of like a reminder bot. And then pretty soon Alexa will transform into, hey, the Ethereum price is down a bit. Do you want me to buy some for you? And then Alexa will start becoming a trading bot, and
yeah, like a personal concierge.
Hey, you know what? We're topping out here. Let's do a little bit of trimming. Yeah, this is what the RSI is telling me, and like, and so like the Alexa will be like will get smarter and smarter and smarter, and eventually Alexa will have a wallet, and you'll say, look, here's some Ethereum. I want you to go and buy and sell and trade for me, and then eventually Alexa will be deployed, and we will all have one. In other words, and this is where these AI agents are going to show up, and you're going to say, well, you know what? Maybe I don't need to go to work today. Maybe I will send Alexa to work today, and then I will go play. And so you're not far. You're not wrong in terms
that
of
one
like how
movie Surrogates.
Oh yeah. Surrogates, or Her from there's a movie called Her, where he falls in love with the AI in his pocket. And yeah, she ends up like combing through his emails and responding to people for him and getting through all the spam. And she's like, I deleted like 1,000 emails that you don't need to read them. They're useless.
If you guys want a real interesting hot tip, just between us, you go on ChatGPT, you can ask it to say, I want to make a trading bot for PulseChain. It's like, okay, here's the code. It will just spit out the code for a trading bot. Now, I'm not doing that. I don't really understand all the difficulty or the intricacies, but I wonder if ChatGPT can actually make me a trading bot. It's like, yep, here's the code. Here it is in Python. Copy. Okay, damn.
That's fascinating.
Damn. Everyone's gonna
Yeah.
become a coder in the future. Everyone's gonna be able to. If you can think of the program, AI is gonna be able to code it for you.
And I've seen them on, I've seen them on social media building stuff, and it'll break, and they'll just go back to ChatGPT and say, "Hey, this is what I ran into. How do we fix it?" It'll spit out the fix. You plug it in. It's remarkable.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how Two Fucks was built, Fast Abdul?
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to say.
Is that what you guys did over there?
I did it yesterday, actually. So yeah, it was great. Yeah.
He's in the kitchen.
Totally. I got my 17-year-old working on it. It's almost done.
I mean, you're in the boardroom right now, so like, I'm sure you got the AI working on Two Fucks and getting it launched. So it's
if you guys have met Yellow Cake, you'd know that he probably is AI.
He's probably an AI bot himself.
Yes. So yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with our actual developers. These guys are insane. They're like robots. Like they're all Ukrainian, and they're just so on point. Like they're not like this is all they think about. So they use ChatGPT though, which is interesting, right? Like all the good developers, the young guys who are like really on it, they're all using ChatGPT just to, to double check things or to work faster. But
great tool.
It can't make some logic jumps that you'd want a human to. They actually have to be quite left-brained sometimes to be able to think of the ways things should work. It's not just math, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's right. Because you could prompt it to write smaller pieces of code.
Yeah.
Like build me an aggregator function that, has this many variables and this many iterations, and I want you to exit the loop once we hit the end of the stack. And so it'll just create that piece of code for you, and then you import that into your bigger Python script, and then you can say, okay, can you evaluate this for me and see if there's any pending global variables that are going to interact with each other. And so like AI is an amazing tool for editing code, or for like scanning it, or for adding comments. It's a great tool for that. But like he said, it's like the Alexa bot, where it's like it knows that whatever you could prompt it, but then it says, like, according to Mayo Clinic, this is how many apples you should have a day, and it's kind of like it's limited to like how much it's been fed. And so it's going to get exponentially smarter,
right?
Where it's going to see enough code that it's going to say, oh, I've seen this before. This is how you link these two pieces of code together. And this is the typical outcomes that we would want to see. And it's deducing, it's getting smarter.
I think not many people are going to be out of jobs this month because of ChatGPT. However, like I did read an article the other day about how there was some like big corporations that were having these stores. I think Amazon was doing like stores that people could walk into, and they just pick things up off the shelf and it would charge them automatically, and so on and so forth. And then the secret was that the AI that was the story, that AI is monitoring the videos, and they have 1,000 cameras, and AI knows what you picked up and put in your pocket, so don't worry. And it's all there. But the AI is like 900 guys in India staring at a video screen, right? There's some things it can't do yet. It's not there. So I think things are going to change. But back to the Ethereum ETF, I want to bring up the point that sometimes with this kind of stuff, everything old is new again. Like it's not like a completely new idea, and it's actually been done in other countries. Like my brother, I had him buy an Ethereum ETF almost a year and a half ago in Canada. You could buy an Ethereum ETF in Sweden, Hong Kong. Hold on, I got a list here.
Yeah, Hong Kong was more recent though. That was like the last maybe 2 or 3 months. I think when that went live.
We got Sweden, Canada, Switzerland, Jersey, which is a little island that the UK owns-ish, Liechtenstein, Germany, United States as of very recently, Bermuda, Brazil, and Hong Kong. There we go. So, but the Canadian one was quite a while ago, and I think some of the European ones were a while ago as well. And I believe there's matching Bitcoin ETFs, and my father-in-law bought one of those about a year ago. So it's everything's kind of focused on, and those didn't even really make the news. It wasn't a big deal in these other countries in the same way. And so everything's kind of focused on what happens in the United States. And of course, other countries are making their policy around what happens to the other in the United States. But it doesn't mean that everybody else is standing still. And there is economic energy in these other countries. So, like, I would wonder, if a person couldn't be forward thinking and look at the concept that, like, okay, is the United States following one of these other countries? Or can we watch for a Solana ETF in Canada or Sweden? And that's going to be, the sign that the US is coming next. And what's to stop BlackRock from buying those up, right? Before to front run what happens to the United States. Did they do that already? Does BlackRock own any Canadian Ethereum ETFs, like things like that? So I think there are some different ways we can look at this and possibly predict the future.
Yeah, those ETFs were used as arguments they were used as arguments for the current ETFs, like the Bitcoin. They're like, oh, well, look, these have been working flawlessly in Canada and Europe. Why is it that we're not doing it? And then they released the futures ETFs, and then those have been, trading flawlessly. And then the CME has futures on spot products, so you could trade. That was the Bitcoin top in the 2017 cycle, was right when they released the CME futures product, which, by the way, was a little bit of a disaster because all they did was short it with leverage. So I don't know if you guys remember, if you guys were around during that time, but it was kind of a sell the news event in the sense that we thought that the big boys were going to come in, and they did, but they came in and they shorted it because of what they saw on their screens. What they saw on their screens were indicators that were telling them this is oversold. This is hitting these RSI numbers that I don't like. So like for them, they're just kind of like, oh, I could make a ton of money shorting this, and they did. And as the price plummeted down and did its retracing, they just kept hammering it down all the way till it hit like 5K or something like that. So could we see something similar with the ETF? I don't think so, because of what someone else had mentioned, that you have the stable money that comes in and doesn't really like trade it and just buys
Briz.
Briz. So like if you have anything in your 401k, or if they start allowing Bitcoin in the 401ks and the pension funds, that's where the real money is going to come from. That's where the stability is going to come from. That's basically a buy and burn, because it's
you're
literally
57, right?
It's a buy and burn, because you can't touch it till you're 65 anyway.
Or is it 65 now? I don't even know anymore.
Well, it's keep going up, man.
It's 65,
Retirement
but
age
by the time we get older, what is the life expectancy of the average human being could be pushed out, and the retirement age could be pushed out
longer.
to 70, 75. It could be longer. And that's a whole other conversation. But the whole point is that, like the money you put into this 401k, let's just say you start investing in your 20s and maybe in your 30s, you're not going to touch that money for 30 plus years. And even if you do, you're only going to take your standard distribution per year. So you could be living into your mid 90s and still have the same product that you've bought when you were in your 20s. Obviously it's first in, first out. But what I'm saying is once this asset class gets accepted into that club, that special club, Good Boys Club, it becomes somewhat of a buy and burn. And I think that volatility does dampen, and it's not going to be as reactive as we saw before with the CME futures launch.
And then hopefully my ideal situation is that the Bitcoin and Ethereum gets in so many American 401ks someone whispers into the politician ears, we need to buy Bitcoin for national security. So, you know, put like
Yeah,
half
just like the other
percent
countries doing with
of
gold
our
now.
GDP into it. And then all of a sudden, other countries start putting a percent of their GDP into cryptos.
Yeah.
Bitcoin
Yeah,
goes to
there
$1 million.
There was a book written.
Multi-million.
I forgot the
Yeah.
the name of the guy who wrote the book. He was I think he was like a former colonel, pretty high up in the military, in the U.S. military services, and he wrote a book about that exact scenario, that it's actually a national security issue to hold Bitcoin, because
Great
if you hold,
minds think alike.
because what was it before? It was gold, right? And so like
Yeah.
the Roman, going all the way back to the Roman Empire, they controlled the gold, and then you went to the British Empire and they controlled all the silver, and then you went back to the American Revolution, which was won because of gold. So like a lot of the and the Civil War was won because of gold as well. So like if you control the commodity that becomes a global reserve asset, you can dominate the world. And he talks about it in his book. I forgot the guy's name. I'll look it up, but it's going to become a national security thing. And like the first country that mines it, if you mine it with nuclear power, it could be 10 times less expensive than to mine it with industrial coal or traditional power. So we have to get off of that that hurdle.
Yeah.
Things has to change for sure. Can I just say that how much I admire Fast Abdul, because I see him everywhere in YouTube videos, commenting.
You admire him?
Admire him, yeah, as a person.
Thank you,
He seems
Norbert.
like a very supportive.
He's not going to give you bribes.
No.
Might.
I still live in a council house, but I don't need anything. I'm gonna make my own way. But the one thing is hit my mind as he was saying. Recently, I visited Switzerland, and guys, London is a wealthy city. Yeah, let's say Switzerland is like on another level. I was there for 5 days visiting friends. I managed to spot actually 5 pieces of rubbish in the entire area. I was on Zug, I was in Bar, I was in
It's like Singapore.
one.
And let me guess, 4 of those were from you, weren't
five
they?
pieces of but that's just one thing, you know. That's just one thing. Another thing is that I couldn't find a pothole. Yeah, like there was not even a single pothole on the roads. You could see minor cracks, but they were straight away, you know, fixed. There was no potholes.
Don't come to Puerto Rico, bro.
Yeah, I can imagine. And then another thing is, after that, I became fascinated with Switzerland, and then you will understand my point. I didn't want to talk about my journey. I became fascinated with Switzerland. It's such a beautiful country. You know what they do? They also allow you to become a resident in the country if you can contribute to the well-being of the citizens. You have good ideas how to boom economies, how to make businesses successful. They welcome you. And then if you compare it to the US, you have slightly above middle-aged gentlemen running your country who prefer people with low education and
crazy guys.
living on benefits because they become the consumers of your economy. So then you just care about like, yeah, we need more of these because they're gonna buy the bread, you know, they're gonna put fuel in their cars, and then they're not gonna ask questions because we're gonna give them the money. So if you compare these two countries together, you see that fine, the US doesn't want to buy any gold at the moment. They are like, is a fact, you know, like they went through which countries the ones which buying gold as crazy, and Russia is one of them, China is one of them, and I don't remember the other ones. And they also not interested in cryptocurrencies, you know. They're no, this evil, you know, like we have to burn all the cryptocurrencies because of God, and you know, that kind of mindset is also not gonna help the US economy, in my opinion. So at some point, most likely gonna become a race of digital age. Who's gonna be the faster? Who's gonna be the better? Who's gonna implement new things which can help the economy and make the society work better? Because these things can support your everyday life. And then it's gonna become a big question. I'm sure after that legislation is gonna be pushed through, and also these slightly above middle-aged gentlemen gonna reach the age limit, and then new generation gonna come who probably gonna be more crypto friendly and more about
I'm a slightly
development and
above aged gentleman, and I love crypto.
okay, then freaking old man. Yeah, okay, then let me use that word. If you are slightly above middle age, then those guys are dinosaurs. But yeah,
You're not orange enough. You got to get more orange, Corey.
Oh, okay. Okay.
but yeah, changes are coming, in my opinion, because if you look around, even in the UK, the current party is trying to bring the general election earlier. I'm sorry, but that shows me desperation, nothing else. And if you have a guy in your country who doesn't even know what he's talking about, and he's saying like Trump has to be re-elected. Did you see that video where he's saying Trump has to be re-elected, and then also and thank you, and fart in front of the camera and turn around and salute, and like, come on, man. It's just like saluting I've been in the military. When you salute someone, is respect. I'm sorry, if you fart, then it's a natural thing. It has to come out, but at least, say like, oh, I think the floor is squeaking or whatever, but don't salute me, man, like just because you farted. So yeah, I think that guy or that party, let's say, is not gonna be reelected. Or if they do it, then it's gonna be like, what's it called? Manipulation with the votes and stuff like that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, did you see that how many people goes to when he talks, and then what kind of people go there, and what kind of people go to when the other guy talks? I think I'm here. Yeah, welcome everyone. Have a good day. No. So I don't want to be too political, but yeah, Fast Abdul made a really good point about these countries, and you can see that Singapore, Canada. I'm not the biggest fan of Trudeau.
Germany's on that list. Germany's a big deal, right? There's money in Germany. Hong Kong obviously too.
But Germany needs something desperately, because they become too dependent on their car industry, and then they could sell their product in China as a premium product. But when the Chinese, realize that we can do pretty much the same thing for half the price, they're like, whatever. I couldn't care less. I just buy more properties instead of a BMW or a Merc. Then the economy become too dependent, and they were spending too much on unnecessary things, let's say.
Well, to add to what you're saying, I mean, you have with all of these changes, you have AI is going to fix a lot of inefficiencies. I mean, there's always been this idea floating around of nation states needing to actually compete for citizens to keep them to stay. I mean, imagine a scenario where AI makes things more efficient, where people don't have to potentially work the same time frames that they do today just to take care of themselves. If people have more freedom, more ability to be able to be mobile, and all of a sudden you could go to a Switzerland or Germany or wherever it may be, and you determine that those places suit you better than where you currently are. It's like a business losing customers, and that'll be interesting. I think that'll happen in our lifetimes.
Well, tax arbitrage is already a thing. I've heard of some Americans moving to Puerto Rico, that sort of thing. And, there's countries for everybody.
I mean, I'm going to do whatever it takes, bro, to make sure I leave behind something good for me and my family. If that means I got to live on a tropical island 365, I'll do it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm moving to Yemen next month. No extradition. It's great. You guys should check it out.
Nice.
Yemen. What you got here, Fast Abdul? I see you got something you're about to shill. I'm going to permit it because one of these things in here I have a pretty large bag of. So one of these things.
This is my new promo video. So
Dan, you want to do it? Or I'm trying to do it. The computer is like horrible. That's the one thing about the
Looks good.
That was it?
I'm on stream.
It looks
Quick and
good. I
snappy.
like it. That's cool.
great.
I'm excited to see the 2 solid pool and hear about the airdrop there. That'll be really cool.
Yeah. So the big news is basically that 2Fox is now part of the solid index, essentially. So it's the 2 solid index pool that will appear on the Fox exchange as soon as perhaps Monday, where 2Fox is paired with the other solid index tokens of, Fire, Axis, Nope, and Solid X. And it's actually the biggest part of the pool. It's 35%. You need to have 2Fox tokens to participate in the pool. 2Fox is not, the front end is not launched for the public yet. We're hoping as soon as Monday that will be available.
Monday.
But it's a matter of days. So it's going to be a big deal. We're super stoked that these guys included us in there. Obviously there was some talks for a long time behind the scenes. It wasn't, it wasn't a surprise to me, but I was very happy that it came to pass like that. To work with, Axis and Crispy and Solid Hex and Randy on this is fantastic. So that'll be the main liquidity pool on the Fox exchange for all these tokens, right? So there might be other subsequent smaller pools just for practical purposes, but that's the liquidity for 2Fox. That's liquidity for all the solid index tokens will be there. And it's gonna, might start out as a smaller pool, but it's gonna become very large. Obviously, likely there'll be millions of dollars on there, and the APRs to farm that token are gonna be crazy. And there's like a master plan behind it that's going to make the numbers really, really good. And part of that plan is that large portion of the 2Fox token that is required to participate in the pool, well, that's one of the tokens you get paid in when you stake that LP token through the 2Fox front end, right? So you need 35% 2Fox to be in the pool, or 33%, I'm sorry. You get paid to stake that LP token in Fox and also in 2Fox if you're using the 2Fox front end to stake your LP, which is going to give you a potential 2.5 times boost your yield regardless. Some people are going to do that. But on top of that 2.5 times boost, the 2Fox token is likely going to have so much economic energy pushed towards it for people to come and participate in this pool and other pools too, that it's going to probably be the largest portion of the yield that you receive. So watch out for 3 or 4 digit APR numbers on that pool very early on. It could be interesting. These things they'll tend to go down, right, as more people come into a pool. But because there's so much economic energy that will be pushed towards that pool, we have essentially 5 communities that are going to control a very large portion of the voting power on Fox, and likely that pool will be maxed out as far as the amount of votes it can receive. And I can tell you the preliminary numbers are in. Yellowcake just gave them to me this morning, and I haven't double checked the details, but 2Fox is going to start on day 1 with 45% of the Fox votes, right? And you're only voting on one thing. That's which pools get the most yield. The thing that we forked, which was Aura Finance, which is a fork of Convex, they have 65% now. When I started looking at them more than a year ago, they had 30%. So we're starting at a way higher spot, and they've been running they're 3.5 years in. So by Christmas, maybe we have 75% of the vote, something silly. So it's just something to be aware of, that this front end for the Fox exchange is where the yield is and is where the power is. And the power in the form of voting actually turns into money in more than one way. So thank you for letting me show.
How do people get the most up-to-date updates on 2Fox and the launch?
Obviously there's we're speculating a bit on the launch date. We're really pushing for Monday, but it will be very soon. Probably our Telegram room is the best place to go, just because we're going to have live data there first. We'll be sharing things everywhere, and also that a lot of the private rooms we have a presence. Honestly, I have a presence all over Telegram. So yeah, you can probably find Fast Abdul. Just make sure it's the right Fast Abdul. There's lots of fake Fast Abduls now. But yeah, I won't DM you. If you DM me, I'll fill you in on whatever you need to know. That's just fine. big thing that we're doing right now that is going to give people an opportunity to participate, particularly in this 2 solid index pool, is that we have a pre-mint that we're doing for Prime 2 Fux, which is wrapped Prime Fux that is already available. You can go buy it on the Fux Exchange, but you wrap it, it becomes part of the 2 Fux protocol, and we give you a receipt token called Prime 2 Fux. The difference being that with Prime 2 Fux, you can stake it and unstake it. There's no lock, and it's going to pay you additional tokens. I think it's going to be between 100 and 200% APR, probably very consistently. It's a really solid single-sided staking token, or there's going to be LP farms you can put it into, and good LP farms with minimal and permanent loss, because we actually pair it against Prime Fux, and it costs 1 Prime Fux to make 1 Prime 2 Fux. So they should be pretty much pegged to each other. There might be a dip here or there. There's actually even an arbitrage point. If the price of Prime 2 Fux goes over, you mint it and sell it onto the market, right? So it's like a self-propagating loop there. But we're doing a pre-mint where we basically have a deal. We can give people up to 30% off if they pre-mint it with Pulse, because we made that deal and we're passing it on to our users. And this helps bootstrap the protocol with early additional power in the terms of voting and yield boosting. So, you know, that's been very popular because people want the 30% off. But then Axis, Fire, Nope, and of course the Fire Whale himself, Solid X, stepped in. They gave us $100,000 of their tokens to airdrop to the top 100 pre-minters. So it's a very short window. It ends tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But until then, like there's a serious competition going on for people to be in these top 100 wallets. The top wallet's getting over $5,000 in airdrops of the other tokens, not including, they're getting likely far in excess of what they paid in the Prime 2 Fux token that they're pre-minting. But even the bottom wallet, like wallet number 100, is getting like $30-$40 worth of airdrop, and that guy's only put in like $90 or something, right? So there's quite a range. And
so I should come in.
What's that?
I haven't given to this sack, so I should come in and participate. It sounds like,
yeah, it's
$90.
Deal. Run the numbers, man. Right, just check.
That's my competition right now.
Yeah, it's there, and it's not really a sacrifice, Corey, because all the numbers are in front of you, right? Like go and
you guys are just giving us a discounted. I can go get Prime Fux. I mean, you're just giving us a good discount on our money, plus adding in an airdrop on top, which is like, so you're giving us free money on top. Like,
yeah, all the numbers are on the screen, and and these communities have donated these tokens, so it's like it's coming from somewhere, but it's not coming from me, and that's I'm okay with that. But the big thing, the actual big win for the big players is they're not paying slippage. So if you're putting in $1 billion Pulse, you're getting 30% off, plus you're not paying slippage. And if you just check that out, like how much Prime Fux can I buy with $1 billion Pulse? Well, you're going to take like 50% slippage, right? Like, so to have the option to not pay slippage and get a discount and get your piece of $100,000 worth of tokens, you probably want. These things are crazy liquid. I think that's cool.
Where do I go to look for the public address and more info? Make sure I'm going to the right place, not going to a scam site. Can you shield that? So
I'm going to drop it in the chat. It's the Jay from Hex Pulse Info, the same guy that does all the sacrifice pages. He made it for us, even though it's not really a sacrifice. So I just dropped that in the chat there. I'll drop in the private one too. And
I'm probably going to. Oh yeah. Hex Pulse. Yeah, I know these guys.
Yeah,
these guys.
That's where everybody did all this stuff. Yeah.
Oh, they're great community members, and been giving us the correct info for a while. There we go. I'm saving that myself. That's why I
Fast Abdul, a quick question. Do we have any I'm another peanut brain as well. Any fast tutorials, like short videos like you just mentioned, hey, if you want this, go here, or any instructions regarding what you just mentioned up to now?
As far as this pre-mint goes, I have it all walked through on the page, and you can come and talk to us about it. But as far as what 2 Fux is, what it does, and for this pre-mint to understand what Prime 2 Fux is and what Prime Fux is, I have some really good videos on that. The guy from Crypto Hexplained, he made us 2 cartoons voiced by Rags to Riches that go through the entire 2 Fux protocol, and they cover Prime 2 Fox and Prime Fox. And so that's actually a good place to start. They're like 7 minutes long, and you kind of feel like you understand it after you watch that. And it's probably only the surface level, but that's mostly what people need. Mostly they just need to understand that the yield comes from somewhere, and that, they get this boost of 2.5 times, and it's not, it's not that part isn't hard. There's some more difficult things that are kind of for like the whales, and there's going to be this bribe thing that I like to talk about, but it's a little more complicated. But right now, it's just like we're offering this deal on something that's imminent. Like we're launching very quickly, and we're actually minting. We've already minted the Prime 2 Fox, and that's why I can tell you we have 45% of the voting power, because I know, because it's measurable.
You already were, yeah.
Yeah. So we actually, just as an experiment, we boosted because Wednesday was the cutoff for voting, and we used a small portion of our voting power, maybe 10%. And we boosted the note pool on Fox from something like 12% APR to I think it was like 250% now. So yeah, it works.
This is cool.
I'm looking at it now. Yeah, the top wallets. I mean, it's not hard to get up in the top 100. It's not hard at all.
No.
Yeah.
Go get yourself free money, guys. It's not financial advice. We're just dudes on the internet. We're just speculating on our bags, but I might throw a little in because I like free money. I like guarantees.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not financial advice, but it is one of the few things I've recommended to family members, just because of math, right? So this one is actually, the math is on the screen. Do the math, people. Do your own math.
Plus, you're supporting one of my biggest bags.
Biggest bag, yeah.
It didn't become. I didn't buy it that way.
Your solid bag.
It turned into that, through price appreciation. It wasn't like I planned it that way. It was part of my 10% lottery bag when I was buying it, and then it kept going up. And I was like, okay. At one point, it was bigger than my Pulse bag. I was like, oh, this is probably too much exposure. I'm like, I probably have too much exposure in this one asset now.
So this thing's only been running for like 10 days or something, maybe less. You can see here we got a chart of like, here's the discount. Everybody gets 10%. If you do a billion plus one or more, you get 30%, everything in between.
Nothing. Yeah.
So, and that's like 30% off, that is, and with no slippage. So, win right there. But then we have on this chart, the leaderboard here, I'm going to bump it to the 100. You actually see the number of Axis, Fire, SolidX, and Note tokens you get. And then this is a live calculation where it says bonus value here. This is actually the current price of those things added up, right? So this top wallet is getting $5,394 worth of not of the Prime 2 Fox token, of the bonus tokens, right? So
yeah,
they're winning. And if we these guys are putting in a fair bit, like they're over $1 billion Pulse there. But if we scroll down to like midway, like, okay, who's number 26? Well, he's getting $1,500 worth of tokens, right? He's only putting in 128 million Pulse, right? So it's like, I think that's about it's about not
value.
$6,000, right? Yeah, around $6,000 this guy's putting in, and you'll get a 25% discount, I think, and then $1,500 in Axis, Fire, Nope, and SolidX. So yeah, the math's pretty good on that.
I wish I had 100 million.
That's some great math. Real quick, when is this over again? Because what I'm going to end up doing is watching it very closely, and I'm going to calculate my numbers based off right before it's over, and I'm going to go ahead and snipe in before it ends. What time is this ending?
Yep, no, good point, Corey. It's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today.
Today.
So that's
today.
Or 11:59 UTC for those of you who are into science and stuff. Today. So yeah, on the 24th of May. So it's a thing, and I think more than one person maybe has your plan, Corey. I think
I know they do.
I've had that idea a couple times. If you're going for one of the higher spots, then I think you have a good shot. A lot of people
give yourself a buffer. Wait until like the last 30 minutes. Give yourself a buffer because there's gonna be other people sniping into. Like if you're wanting to be like in the top 10, right? You're gonna be like, okay, maybe I need to aim for top 5 so I can get in the top 10, right? And that's kind of my thing. If I want to be in the top 100, maybe I need to aim for top 50. Like that's the kind of thinking I'm I'm thinking like, okay, I'll just give myself a buffer. I'll aim in. At least I'll get an idea, a better idea. You know, there might be a couple whales waiting to snipe. It's fine.
Oh, for sure.
And I'll just make sure you're at least in the top 100, and you're going to get the bonus anyway. Like, just make sure you're in the top 100. That's it. Like, overshoot that, and you should be fine.
And there's only competition for the placement of the top 100 to get the bonus airdrop. As far as the prime 2 fucks, it's just based on how much you put in. You'll get a discount, and that's what you're going to receive next week. So it's not that everybody kind of wins, even if you don't manage to hit in the top 100. I would like to be in the top 100, but you know, that's
$200, man.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Like it. I'm glad you came on today because 8 o'clock tonight's coming right around the corner.
Yeah, it's coming up fast, and we have a lot of interest in this. Having Access talk about you on Twitter all the time, I guess, is a good thing. The math seems to have worked on that.
That works.
Yeah.
That's good. Cool, guys. Well, this is probably, we've been going for almost an hour and a half. That's probably a good place to look at wrapping. Anything you want to hear, Corey, before we jump off?
Nah, man, it's weekend. You guys go out, enjoy the weekend, create value in the world so you can make money, so you bring that money back and amplify your gains in crypto. And yeah, enjoy it. That's going to be I think we're entering a very fun time. Once again, I'd like to talk about this. We got the 4 rocket boosters that are going to send us to the freaking moon. We ignited the first rocket booster yesterday. That's Ethereum ETF. Second rocket booster will be the SEC Clarity. Third is RH Streaming. Fourth is Privacy coming to PulseChain. We got the first one that ignited yesterday. It might take to the end of the year before that thing really kicks in.
Fiat on and
along
off
with
ramp.
this other stuff. Yeah, well, Fiat, I don't think those are rocket boosters. Those are coming anyways, right? Like it's, we've already had one, and they already told us that they'll be back here in Q3. Pretty much, they're going to be guaranteed they'll be back Q3, and that's Coast. I love those guys over there, being that they took on a very big problem and solved it by bringing us
They're working on solving it.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, it seems like they're about there. I mean, this is an amazing, I would never want to go through the legality shit that they went through to figure all that out, and all, especially in the United States. Like the United States, dude, just get out of here. Like, so it's super, super cool what those guys are doing. So yeah, that's it, man. No, next week we should be around. I don't think we're going anywhere. I have a real estate event to go to tomorrow, but that's on Saturday, so you guys won't even miss us.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks for jumping on, you guys that joined us today. Thanks for you guys in the comments. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
Smash the lights. Hit the subscribe. Come on. Let's go.
All the best.
See ya.